put a lot of work into making music and the ideas behind music really complicated, and it just doesn't have to be that way. And so as a little bit of trying to lighten up the music ideas, we're going to talk about music in terms of one of my favorite foods, cheesecake. I love cheesecake. And when you start thinking about it, music in sort of in a different way, it makes it a lot more accessible. Now we're going to work in the key of G, which means the major chords are going to be a G, a C, and a D chord. Okay, those are the major chords. And so we're going to focus really on the majors, but we'll talk a little bit about some minor stuff as well. But here's the basic idea. In this case, G is our root. It's our basic cheesecake. Plain cheesecake. We like plain cheesecake. It's where we're always going to be happy. We can think of our C chord as being our key lime. Key lime cheesecake is wonderful. And then we think of D. D is our double chocolate. It's chocolatey, it's wonderful, and it makes us want to come back and revisit that plain cheesecake, our G. Okay, so we've got that idea. Now we're going to focus on the chocolate guy for a little bit because we do like chocolate. Chocolate is good. What's the saddest type of cheesecake you could have? A sad cheesecake. That's a graham cracker crust, like it or not, right? That's the sad guy. If you want to have a happy cheesecake, you're going to have an Oreo crumble, especially with the chocolate cheesecake on top. But we get the idea. We're hearing the difference between some of the ideas right away. And we know the difference between having a happy sound and a sad sound is really the third, and we make it minor or we make it major. So there's our basic ideas. We've got our range of happy cheesecake. Okay, we could have sad cheesecake too, but we're not going to do the sad cheesecake just yet. But the key is the first letter of the chord that we're going to play. That's all we ever have to really worry about. There's our C, there's our D. You may say, but there's all kinds of stuff that comes with it. Well, this is adding flavor. There's lots of reason to do it. But when you're certainly just starting out, you don't have to have every flavor possible. So let's take a simple look at things. We've got our D. Now D is the first, the notes on the strings 1 to 4. Suppose I include the 5 string, which is an A note. It sounds great. Well, that's a slash chord. It is a D chord with an extra note in the bass. Slash chord. A little different flavor, but very nice still, no bad parts. We could also have a sus chord, in this case a sus4 or a sus2, right? Sus4, sus2, think of that as being like a little swirl going through. It adds a little bit of flavor, it's a little different. But it's not exactly a big change. In the same way that when we put our A in the bass of the D chord, now we're kind of intimating the idea of maybe some fruit on top. It's good for you, but it may not be that great. You may not really love that. And then there's the weird stuff. We might have a D with a major 7, a D7, we might have a D6, all slightly different flavors, all wonderful flavors. They're adding something to it. Think of it like a little extra drizzle on top, you know, a little chocolate, a little raspberry, maybe some blackberry. It's changing the flavor slightly. The key idea is that we are still playing the major names, our G, our C, and our D. And as we advance, as we get better and better, we are able to add more extra flavors to things to make it more interesting. And so this idea might seem crazy to talk about cheesecake, you know, although I think it's always good to talk about cheesecake. It really is a nice way of just thinking about the extra flavors we're adding to our chords, just like adding extra little tidbits and changes to our cheesecake.